Could I be any more sad right now? So, the world recently lost Matthew Perry, and as someone who has watched every episode of Friends probably multiple times, it really hit hard, this one. So, I wanted to hop on and do a quick video about celebrity losses and why they affect us so much when we are already grieving.
I knew it!
For someone who is already dealing with personal losses, who's already in grief, a celebrity death that we really care about is like someone turning on the emotional blender. Celebrities like Matthew Perry aren't just stars on our screen. A lot of times they feel like friends. I didn't try that.
Can I interest you in a sarcastic comment?
But they're often people that we feel like we are sharing the lives of. We are there with them, laughing and crying and experiencing emotions with them. And although it seems kind of weird, we can actually build a bond with these characters that we watch every week in our living room. You know, we might not actually be at Central Perk having coffee with Chandler Bing, but a lot of times it feels like it. It feels like we're there experiencing what they're experiencing. So when we lose someone like him, it feels like those memories are going to be lost too. It feels like grief for us. If you are someone like me who has already been navigating the rough waters of grief, a celebrity death that impacts us personally, someone that we follow or watch or feel close to, it can kind of hit us in different ways. So for some people, it brings back memories of the show that that person was on. So maybe you watched Friends with the person that you lost, and it brings back all these memories of sitting on the sofa and laughing and following the characters. And it kind of reignites that pain of that loss for you.
Had a very long, hard day.
It's also difficult because it's everywhere. When a celebrity dies, it's all over social media. It is all over the news. Every time we turn on our TV or look at our phones, it seems to be there. And it's just like death, 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 grief, grief, grief. And if you're already in that headspace, it is a lot to deal with. And also, obviously, if we are already in grief, just hearing about another death all the time and hearing about other people grieving and how they're reacting to it, it just like turns up the volume on our own grief that we're experiencing and makes it that much harder to deal with.
What must it be like not to be crippled by fear and self-loathing?
So anyone that feels like Matthew Perry's death or any celebrity death, you know, whenever you're watching this, I feel like they happen pretty often. So if that is happening to you and that is why you are here, make sure that you take a breather. Make sure that you decompress. It might be time for a social media and TV detox if you need it. If you know that it recently happened and it's going to be all over the place, maybe just shut down or back off how much you are on your devices during that time. Pick up a book and read a book, go for a walk, talk to a friend, try something different so that you're not bombarded with all of those griefy feelings. Unfortunately, it usually takes about maybe a week or two for that to die down a little bit, depending on who the person was. It's sad that, you know, when these people die, they get their 15 minutes of press time and then it seems like it didn't happen. But that is how our news and system and society works, unfortunately.
It bodes well for me that speed impresses you.
So maybe you can celebrate that person. I always say, you know, when you're going through grief, the best way to deal with it is by embracing it, embracing those feelings. So maybe if you were a Friends fan, for example, you have a marathon where you watch your favorite Friends episodes. And yes, you'll be sad knowing that Chandler is no longer with us, but it will also bring back those good memories for you.
Chandler, I make jokes when I'm uncomfortable.
And I know I always say this, but another great way to deal with things is to find people who you can talk to that will support you. It doesn't have to be anything super serious, just sharing that, hey, this death has really brought up these griefy feelings for me, and I just wanted to talk about it for a minute. Find someone who you can do that with. If you are really struggling and you find that whatever the death is that's all over the news, it is bringing up a lot of your past feelings about your own grief or making your current grief seem that much worse to the point where it is really bothering you, maybe reach out to a counselor or a therapist. You can reach someone in your area. You can find someone online. It doesn't have to be a long, drawn out thing where you have lots of different appointments. With a lot of people, you can just schedule kind of one-on-one appointments to get those things out, get those feelings out. And then you just feel so much better once you talk about them and maybe get some strategies for dealing with those resurgence of those really difficult feelings. It sucks. The world is going to be a lot less funny without Chandler Bing in it. He was my favorite character. I copied a lot of the things that he said. Could I be more exhausted?
Could we be more white trash?
I talk like that because of Matthew Perry. So this one hit different for me. And I'm sure a lot of people that grew up in my generation feel the same way because Friends was a staple on our Thursday nights, right? It was like they were our friends. So I am sending love and hugs to anyone who is feeling the same way or feeling that nostalgia or having that resurgence of griefy feelings because of this loss. And if it's someone different, I am sorry that you are going through that as well. But remember, it is always okay to have those feelings. It is always okay to grieve. But we also want to know that there is still a lot of hope and laughter and love out there to be had. Thinking of you guys like always, sending you love and hugs, and I will see you next week. We all know that grief can leave us feeling alone, unmotivated, and even hopeless. That's why I'm so proud to have partnered with HelpText to provide a full year of ongoing expert support to my subscribers. HelpText has individualized support for caregivers, people dealing with a difficult diagnosis, or grieving the loss of a loved one, pregnancy, or even a pet. You answer questions at sign up to get specific support just for you, including 2 texts per week and even extra texts on special or difficult days like birthdays or anniversaries. And the best part is, if you sign up using the site linked in my description, you'll get a 10% discount off of your subscription. Thank you so much to HelpText for offering this deal to my subscribers. When life gets hard, getting support from HelpText is easy.